And it is now time for a motion to adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson, JP.
And welcome to Motion to Adjourn. And as you might have heard advertised, we have what I like to call a bit of the battle of the columnists set to happen today, where we have a very special guest with us, which is entrepreneur, former senator, and current approved OBA candidate for Constituency 9, Vic Bowl, with us today. So, as it was described, MP Chris Famous has a few opinions about the article and the recent article. But before that, maybe give folks a bit of insight into the article if they haven't yet read it, so that we know what we're discussing today.
You're jumping right in.
Yeah, you gotta jump into it.
Read the script to me. Script says.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Bull.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. I want to thank MP Famous and Dwayne Robinson for inviting me here today to have a discussion on matters as it pertains to Bermuda and Bermudians. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am, as you know, definitely I'm Bermudian, 100%. And I am married, and I have 2 sons. I have my family history on my dad's side is, goes back generations. On my mother's side, my mother's mother goes back generation. They trots from down Bay. And my mother's father was actually from England. So I have some of that history in my blood as well. I'm a product of the illustrious Bermuda Institute. After Bermuda Institute, I got a degree, a Bachelor of Science degree in economics and business administration. I have been employed with the government and civil service. I've been employed in local and international business. I have been a member of the legislature in the Senate from 2014 to 2017. And more currently, I am a business owner with a few partners that we are all invested in.
Yes, sir. Okay. So, with that being said, could you just tell us a bit about, what got you into politics? What was the political bug that bit you and made you say, hey, this is something I want to be a part of. This is something that I want to get involved in?
In 2014, I had a conversation with a local retailer, and I just gave her she was affiliated with the OBA at the time, and I gave her my views on what I thought the country should be doing at that time. And she invited me to have a meeting with the Premier, Michael Dunkley, who asked me if I would like to, join politics. And I was adamantly, no way, that would never happen. And then I thought about it, and I said, you know what, if ever he asks me again, and then, if you turn down a premier, you're not expected that it's going to come back and ask you again. But, about 6 weeks later, I got another call. And the reason that I decided to join at that time was because I said, I think I'm a good decision maker, and who would I trust to be a senator in my place at the time? So I decided to take on the challenge. And I really enjoyed my experience in the Senate and in the legislature and seeing how businesses work. Obviously, there were many challenges. There were many rewards, but I wouldn't change a thing. It was a very good experience.
Okay, and, obviously, as your colleague, we're happy to have you. But just to kind of dig a little deeper as far as your political ideology, what kind of shaped your views and allowed you to align with the One Bermuda Alliance as a party?
I have always been interested in business, and my mom and my dad have a business. My sister and her husband have a business. My wife has a business. Even my 2 sons have a business. So I am definitely. My ideology is definitely geared toward business. And in order for a business to do well, the economy has to be doing well. The economy has to be prospering. And so, with that said, I again decided to join the One Bermuda Alliance when invited. And as Bermudians, we have always, up until recently anyway, had a strong middle class. My grandfather worked at the docks and drove taxi, but, he was able to leave his children 3 or 4 houses. With hard work and dedication and perseverance, the middle class of Bermuda was always able to thrive. I remember being in college, and we were always proud to be Bermudian. I think at the time, we used to brag that we were the 3rd richest country in the world per capita. And that was something that I believe that, most Bermudians that were in college at the time were proud of. And so, I just have a business mind ideology, and I think that at the time, it aligned with the One Bermuda Alliance in conjunction with the fact that I am of the view that race politics has got to go by the wayside. We can no longer have a country that's divided by race, divided by class, and I believe that that has been stoked by the Progressive Labour Party to our detriment as a country. And I thought that the One Bermuda Alliance at the time would be able to move the country forward in a progressive way without racial politics being a part of it.
Thank you for that. And with that, what is some of your experience, like such as, the 2020 election? How did you feel during that time? During the election, what was your experience? For those who are considering possibly, running a campaign, a lot of folks don't know what, goes into it and the work. So.
It's definitely it's something that's going to take time and dedication. And I will say this on the air now. I think that MP Famous is a really good constituency politician. He does a lot of work. I've seen him, doing work in his constituency, and that's the type of stuff that is going to be required if you're thinking about getting into politics. You're also going to have thick skin. Because when I joined politics, I lost friends almost immediately, no. But that's just the nature of politics, and once you join up into a team, then somebody else thinks that you're the enemy or whatever the case may be. But for me personally, I'm just pro-Bermudian, and I just want to see Bermuda do well, and I want to see our people do well at all times. It doesn't, if the PLP could do it, then great. I'll be happy for them. I'll applaud them. But at the time,
you come join us back again?
Yeah. If the PLP could do a good job, then I would definitely applaud the PLP in them doing a good job.
You said applaud or apply to come back to
applaud them if they did a good job. At this time, I in my humble opinion, I don't believe that they are doing a good job with the economy. I don't think they are doing a good job with the social aspects of Bermuda. And I think that, quite frankly, Bermuda needs a change.
That's MP Famous. I'm going to put a green shirt on everybody, see?
No, it's like Jesus always offers you a U-turn. So what? One business seat, can't come back.
Yeah, well, in that case, right? Just moving into some of the things that you see, you've touched on it a bit in some of your answers. But what are some of the things you've noticed about Bermuda and its current state that particularly concern you?
Well, in order for a country to do well, period, whether it's social programs or anything else, it has to have a thriving economy. And I don't believe that there's too many people that believe that our economy is thriving at the moment. And it probably hasn't been thriving for quite some time. It just seems to be getting worse and worse. So I'm always about the economy. Nothing really matters except a strong economy and a vibrant and prosperous economy. And that's always been my angle, and that will always be my angle.
Right. Well, just leading into the articles and the string of articles that you write, what is the main purpose for you in putting those articles out, and what kind of drives you to continue to advocate?
I'm a member of the One Bermuda Alliance, and at this point,
Pay your membership
I-
paid up.
I believe it is, yes. And I am a member of the One Bermuda Alliance, and what was your question?
What drives you?
Okay, so at this point, the One Bermuda Alliance, without a question of doubt, is weak numerically. I mean, there are only 6 members. And so I just take it upon myself to be a voice for people in the community, and it doesn't make a difference if, you're a constituent of Constituency 9 or whether or not you're just a constituent of Bermuda, period. I just try to add my voice to the discourse and just try to provide, some constructive discourse into the public view.
You hand it over to me, though?
Yeah, you've been sitting there.
I like to listen. First of all, let me say this, sir, right? Thank you for coming, Mr. Bull, because more often than not, as Dwayne's a columnist as well, right? People put their views in paper. Anybody could write something up. You don't know who wrote it, right? It could be AI, it could be you, it could be someone else. Anybody could write something up and submit it to the Gazette. Right? And what I find with a lot of people is, especially in the Royal Gazette, is they hide behind fake names. And whether it's you, Khalid Wasi, sometimes Miss Beverly Connell, one or two other people at times, you don't hide behind fake names. No matter what you wrote, you put your name to it. So I applaud you for that, because we have too much like people not whatever you believe in, just say that's what I believe in, right? Mm-hmm. And people, you have people sniping from the side, like it's like you go to a grocery store, like you don't know if the guy just walked across you is the guy that wrote all this crap in the paper about you. You know what I mean? Yep. So I say that to you, that like not to say dismiss anything you write or I take in anything you write. I give you credit for putting your face to it. And as Dwayne said, as you said, okay, you took it upon yourself to be a voice for whatever segment of the population feel that they're voiceless, right? Now, this is some free advice. You'll be up here, everyone needs to up the game when it comes to talking in the public, right? Everybody. So, here's the thing. I'm learning of Vic Ball before I've known him. That's typical Bermudian, right? I know the Ball family very well. We actually have a mutual cousin. I won't call his name because I don't want to get mad at me. We have three mutual cousins, right?
Right.
And mutual friends. That's just how Bermuda is, right? And people in whatever family, everybody's gonna have differences of opinion. Fine, great. Now, Mr. Bull, you said you joined. When did you join the OBA?
In 2014.
2014. So, did you ever put your name down to be a candidate for the PLP?
I did put my name down to
What
be a
year was
candidate.
that?
2007.
Anything after that, subsequent to that?
No.
Okay, all right. So, you also said only the OBA knows about economy. That's not the exact
I
words.
never said that.
But tell me exactly what you said about economy.
I said that at the moment, the Progressive Labour Party are not doing a good job with the economy.
Okay,
That's what I said.
you said something about unless there's a strong economy, everything else is secondary to that, right?
In a nutshell, yes.
Okay.
Everything hinges on a strong economy.
Okay. So in 2007, when you did put your name forward, which constituency you put your name forward to in 2007?
I don't remember. I think it was somewhere up in Warwick.
Somewhere up. Narrow it down.
I think it might have been Alex Scott's seat.
Okay. C24. So in 2007, what was the GDP of Bermuda at that time?
If you're asking me right now to know what the GDP of Bermuda was in 2007 today, without any prior,
No, I'm asking.
I have no idea. How would I know that? Like
You was vying for
average
politics.
person
You should
doesn't
have
know
known.
what the GDP of the
Okay,
country
so
is.
let me help you out here.
15 years
The
ago.
GDP was at its highest in 2007 under the PLP.
Okay.
There were 40,000 working persons under the PLP.
Mm-hmm.
Under, more specifically, under Dr. Ewart Brown. So I'm asked, so the narrative, not necessarily your narrative, but the narrative of some people is that the PLP doesn't know how to manage the economy. So I ask you, from 1998 to 2007, the economy grew. The population grew. The amount of working people grew. The amount of building projects grew. Can we agree on that?
We can agree to that.
So
Why?
Why
did that happen?
So if the PLP didn't know how to manage the economy, how did all that come about?
I'm glad you asked.
How did all that come
How
about?
did all that come about? All of that came about because in 2001, there was the World Trade Center bombings, and so then a whole influx of international businesses came into Bermuda.
Okay, so
You asked me a question. I'm gonna finish.
Okay.
In 2005, we had Hurricane Katrina, and another influx of international businesses came into the island.
Okay, I'm glad you
and
even added that.
is the reason why the economy grew. It's not because the PLP did something. It's because of natural factors, well, maybe unnatural factors, being the World Trade Center bombing and Hurricane Katrina that caused international businesses to come into the island and thereby raising the GDP.
So hold on.
Unless you can tell me something the PLP did.
So if the other narrative is that the PLP is anti-business and anti-people coming in, correct?
I've not said that.
I didn't say you said it.
Okay.
That's the narrative, right? So if this massive influx came in under the PLP, they couldn't be anti-immigration, now could they?
Are you asking me, are you anti-immigration?
No. I
Okay.
asked you if a massive amount of, according to you, a massive amount of persons came in, international business came in 2001 and then 2005, under the PLP government, they could not have been anti-immigration, now could they?
I'm not sure what you mean by anti-immigration, but I can tell you that in 2009...
No. But you said I asked you why the economy grew. You gave your update. So I'm saying to you, had the PLP been anti-immigration and anti-business, as the narrative likes to be painted, that would not have happened, now would that?
I'm not sure what the answer is to that, but I can tell you about your immigration stance in 2009. You want to know about that? You want to know about term limits and term limits and international.
I want you to answer the first question.
International business told you that if we have to change over staff who are dealing with our customers, then we're going to have to leave. How did you help immigration at that time?
Okay, so let's go back to this point about pro-Bermudian. You're pro-Bermudian, right?
I'm pro-Bermuda and pro-Bermudian.
Okay. So if you have your own talented people who went off to the university, just such as you did, came back with degrees, not just a little associate degree, not to say associate degree is little, but not just an associate degree, master's degree, business, but can't get a job, but they see people being advertised in the newspaper, same qualification as them, and these people are getting hired. What is you supposed to do as the government of the day?
The government of the day, in my humble opinion, unless, I can tell you what the government of the day did and it didn't work. So I will tell you that maybe that strategy wasn't the right strategy. But what the government of the day could have done was listen to international business and understood that there are customer relations. If I am dealing with a multi-million-dollar, $100 million client, and then I need to replace him only because he's not Bermudian, and I stand the risk of losing a $100 million client.
How is your client? Your client has nothing to do with Bermuda as far as working, or the client the worker.
So are you trying to tell me that international businesses don't have clients?
The clients don't work here.
The client could be abroad. The client could be anywhere.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, so if there's a $100 million deal and they are used to dealing with Jack over there, and you say, no, you got to deal with Christopher Famous over here because it's Bermudian, I mean, would you rather lose 5,000 persons, which is what happened? That doesn't make any sense. To me, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so hold on. Let's stop for a minute. Dwayne, you were born what year?
94.
94. You remember the year 2008?
Yeah, vaguely.
Tell me what happened in October 2008. September, October.
Well, you let me know, because I don't know exactly what we're talking about.
There was a financial crash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Forced by people in Wall Street, bankers and so on, that led to a financial crash all around the world,
Correct.
right? Including businesses, sir, including one major banker that invested in things that they shouldn't have invested in. Correct?
That's correct.
And what did that lead to? That led to companies having to downsize, retrench, so on and so forth. Are we forgetting that, Mr.
But
Ball?
on the flip side of
No,
that.
hold on. I'm asking Mr. Ball.
No,
I just
but
want. I ain't
no,
wanted you.
yeah, but you
I ain't
wrote me
wanted.
in.
Hold on. I ain't wanted you
Yeah.
to tell me what happened in 2008 because it has a relevance to what's happening in
Right.
2009.
I just wanted to say as well on the flip side of that, right? You have to remember that crash was forecasted, right? And they were told, the Progressive Labor Party was told at that time to button down the hatches, and what they did, they brought in Beyonce. So it's a lot of things, a lot of spending that was done. It's true, because we were one of the few countries that struggled to get out of that recession. And some say we never did.
Still in the recession.
But anyway, Mr. Boy.
All right, we're gonna go to a break. We're gonna go break, and then we're gonna continue this conversation.
Favorite feature brands, true veterans of the food awareness movement. Bob's Red Mill, the U.S. leading miller of organic whole grain foods. Only whole grains have the entire value developed during growth. And once you try them, you know that this is the way food was intended to be. Try Bob's Red Mill blanched almond, whole wheat pastry, and artisan bread flours, and 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour, unsweetened shredded coconut, gluten-free homemade wonderful bread mix, and a variety of rolled oats. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Hi, this is Sasha from Baptist. It's time for our annual store-wide sale, and our sales are on everything, not selected items, every single thing. Store-wide. Toilets to tools, tubs to tiki torches, tile to tape, even things that don't start with T. Till Saturday. Okay, that started with T. But everything, store-wide.
Bermuda builds better with Baptist, the best in building supplies.
You're locked to Power 95, Bermuda's big station, at 94.9 FM, a Bermuda Broadcasting Company station.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jasmine Patterson with a look at the top headlines. Retail sales volumes down 0.2% in October 2022. Home Affairs Minister defends position that City of Hamilton were involved in the draft consultation city plan. And climate change educator hosts Lunch and Learn at Bermuda College. You're listening to Bermuda Broadcasting News.
.94.9 Bermuda. Hour 95.
And we're back.
So let's go right back in time. So Dwayne, you're saying the whole crash was forecasted. That's what you're saying?
It was.
Okay. So it was forecasted by whom?
So, as I am young, but I would say it was financial experts that said that the best course of action right now is to batten down the hatches and start to create some savings, because we're heading into a financial crash.
So these financial experts never told the Bank of Butterfield this?
Maybe they did.
These financial experts never told British American this?
Well, you're going to take losses, but at the end of the day...
No, just hold on. You said as if there was this major, I don't know, Nostradamus moment that we were told that there's going to be a financial crash. But all the big businesses chose to ignore it, correct?
It's probably didn't choose to ignore it. They probably made bad decisions, or maybe they banked on something we didn't know. But the point is that we were told that you need to start to reduce spending. At that time, as you said, we had a lot of businesses. We had a great working population, so we didn't have a revenue problem. We had a spending problem.
Okay. Give Mr. Bull back the mic, because you're not the guest today, bro.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Bull, let's take us from 2009 forward to when you felt like, okay, about 2000, 2007, you ran for PLP. 2009, the crash happened. 2014, you joined the OBA. What caused that transformation in 2 minutes or less?
Sure, no problem. I'm sure that you remember what happened in 2012 when the One Bermuda Alliance was elected the government, in spite of the fact that you say the Progressive Labour Party had strong GDP numbers, but the island was continuing to go negatively as far as the economy was going, and your supporters didn't come out to vote. And the economy was doing bad at the time. And in order for as a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the One Bermuda Alliance needed to borrow money to make payroll for the civil servants the month that they won office in December. I don't know if you want to correct me, point of order or anything like that.
No, go ahead.
You're good? Okay, cool. So the economy was in tatters. It was in an abysmal state. And that's just a fact. You can talk to me about 2007 all you like, but by 2012, it was being mismanaged. And proof of what I have been saying over this time is in 2001, there was the World Trade Center bombings, and a whole influx of money came into the country. In 2005, it was Hurricane Katrina, and another huge influx of money came into the country. And by 2000,
all under the PLP, right?
Say it.
All under the PLP.
Under the Progressive Labour Party.
Right,
and
cool.
by 2012, the country was in economic shambles.
And I'm asking you again.
So
I'm going to ask
that
you.
couldn't have
I'm
been
going to ask
One
you.
Bermuda Alliance fault at the time.
I'm going to ask you once again, right? And you could just answer yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand the ramifications of what happened in America 2008 when Obama got in and you know what he said? High times on Wall Street, and he had to bail out. This thing called too big to fail, where the U.S. Treasury had to bail out every bank in America. You do remember that, right?
I remember that.
You remember AIG going down, right?
I remember AIG.
You remember Lehman Brothers going down, right?
I remember Lehman Brothers going down.
So let's look at a analogy of a ripple. If that happened in America and our main business is based off of what's going on around the world, remember what happened in England went down too. So you think we was going to be unaffected?
Sure, you will be affected. There's no
Okay,
doubt
all
about
right,
that.
all right.
However,
All right.
if we were better prepared and better managed, the effects of it would not have been so drastic.
Okay.
And the more you deny that fact, the
No,
more
who's
Bermudians are
denying?
going to be concerned
Hold on.
of where we are today.
Hold on, brother. Hold on. I gave you the global reality that you couldn't deny, right? If our main business then and now is international business, whatever's happening to it is going to have an effect here.
I've already agreed that
Okay,
yes, there will
fine.
be an effect.
Great.
However, and
Great.
what I'm trying
Let's
to
move forward.
No,
Let's
we're not
move
moving
forward.
until
You're not moving forward?
until I express what I'm about to say.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm your guest here. Yes, there was a global crisis. Yes, it was going to affect Bermuda. However, if we were better prepared,
What do you mean better prepared? Tell me.
Dwayne just told you.
No. I want you
Dwayne-
tell me.
didn't Dwayne just tell you.
I want you tell me.
We were spending money like sailors.
Hold on. I want you tell me
Drunken
what you.
sailors.
Hold on. I want
At
you
that.
tell me what you call better prepared. 2 minutes or less, because we've got to be conscientious of time here.
Okay, so better prepared for me means that batten down the hedges.
No,
Spend
don't give me sound bites. Give me actual
Don't
things.
spend $2 million on Beyonce
Let's
for
yeah,
a 1 hour concert or a 45-minute concert. But if you want to move on, we can move on.
No,
I
hold
think
on.
you got
The budget is $1 billion. $2 million. That's not going to sink the country. Tell me, what do you, as an OBA supporter, mean by batten down the hatches? Tell me.
I thought I just said to batten down the hatches means to spend less.
Spend less on what? What are we
Spend less
spending money on?
Whatever you were.
What are we spending?
What were you wasting money on?
Do you
in
look at the
2010,
hold on?
2011,
Do you look at the do you
2012
look at the
that caused
budget?
you to lose the election?
Do you look at that? And that's not what caused us to lose the election. Do you look at the budget?
Not as much as I used to when I was a senator, but yes. What
Okay.
do you want to know?
What are we spending most of our money on? Tell me.
As any organization, most of your money is spent on labor.
So, if we are to batten down the hedges, that means that's a nice word for saying cut costs, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, answer me this, sir. If the majority of our money is going on labor, right? Civil servants. Which civil servants should we
I
have
never
caught?
said that
No,
you
no,
should.
I'm asking you.
Okay.
You said batten the hatches. So if the majority of our money is going on civil servants, which hatches should we have battened?
You could have betted on the hatches were other gifts or whatever money was being spent.
No. Be specific. Be specific. Yeah, you are in position to try.
2012, 2022.
I'm asking you now. What do you all mean by batting on the hatches? Tell
You
me.
said spend less money, and
On what?
I have
Spend on
never.
what?
And I'm gonna say this publicly. I'm gonna say it on air now. I have never been an advocate of reducing the size of the civil
Okay,
servants.
say that again loudly because
I have not been an advocate of reducing the size of the civil service.
Okay, so-
when I say that, I mean that. So the furlough day, I thought that was a good way in order to be able to cut.
And where did that money go to? Ben on America's Cup. But anyway, let's go.
Okay, if that's what you want to say, and let's just say that you were right. How much money was spent on the America's Cup?
Over $100 million.
And how much money was returned? 336 million.
According to who?
According to the study that was done.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
But right now we have
let's
COGP.
let's move on, brother. Let's move on.
All right, no problem.
Because
Let's do it.
we've got 20 minutes. Yeah. Right. Let's move forward to the stuff you write in the RG every so often. I would say weekly, but you've kind of dropped off. I'm kind of disappointed. But
I've never written weekly. But
I would say weekly, but you've kind of dropped off.
Yeah,
so let's move forward. Let's talk about what you wrote today, brother.
let's talk
Because
about
there's any regurgitation of what you wrote all the time. So.
it. Okay.
Hold on. Before we go further, I'm a little confused and I just want some clarity here. Leading up to October, you was advocating for a change in leadership of the PLP, correct?
You mean between Curtis Dickinson and David Burt?
Yeah.
My preference would have been Curtis Dickinson. I
So
think the country's preference would have been
So,
Curtis Dickinson.
so you do realize, right? Being in a political organization, you do realize there is no premier in this island that can operate on their own, right?
Yeah, without question at all.
So
It's common sense.
whether it was one person or the other, PLP policies would have remained the exact same.
I think that
You do realize that, right?
I think that Curtis Dickinson would have potentially, and this is not a given, but he would have potentially operated the country differently than David
Hold
Burt had been.
on. Let's stop right there. There's a thing called collective responsibility and a thing called caucus. And there's a thing called CC. At least in the PLP, we have CC. There is no premier that can arbitrarily get up and say, this is what we're going to do differently all of a sudden. They have to have one, buy-in from CC, buy-in from caucus, and buy-in from cabinet. So what makes you think any change of government would have changed what we're doing now?
You mean a change in leadership?
Change in leadership.
Would have changed it? No, I mean, it was just the way how Curtis Dickinson was running the Ministry of Finance at the time. I think that he was doing a good job. I think the country thought.
Well,
he was
why
doing
you
a good
never
job.
wrote that he was doing a good job?
I believe I have. As a matter of fact, it's in here.
Right, say it. Let me. You wrote it before or after he stepped down?
I don't remember
No,
specifically.
you
but-
wrote it. You said you had it
but
right there.
I let me tell you, this is a personal thing, and I don't even know why I'm even saying it on there. But Curtis Dickinson is a good friend of my dad. Number one, they ride together, and number two, when I had an issue at the Bank of Butterfield some years ago, I was able to call Mr. Dickinson long before we were both into politics, and he was able to help me out. So,
All right. Well,
I
let
have a
me
lot of
help.
respect for
Let me
Curtis
help you out
Dickinson.
with something, right? This is how governments run. Elected governments run. No premier, that is Michael Dunkley, Craig Cannoneer. No one can arbitrarily just change the direction of what's happening. They have to have buy-in from the caucus and from the cabinet.
Well, who does the cabinet? Who does the cabinet? Whose pleasure do they work on?
You do understand the power of the caucus, right?
I do.
Okay.
But again,
that's
but
all
what
you need
does
to
cabinet,
understand.
But who does
If the
cabinet?
majority of the caucus,
Who does cabinet
Hey, listen,
work on?
let me help you out. If the majority of the caucus does not support something, it's not going to happen.
So what you're saying is,
Irrespective of who the cabinet is.
so what you're saying is that the leader, the premier of the party, it doesn't matter who they are. The party will have his way. And even though the cabinet minister serve at the pleasure of the premier, he can't at all set any directives for them.
Which part are you not understanding here?
I'm just saying.
The PLP is not a top-down party. It's not no one dictates to us.
No, it's
I understand that.
I
Right?
I don't worry about the inner workings of the PLP. My point to you is if you're in a job and your boss is asking you for buy-in on a policy, but you serve at his pleasure, if you give buy-in and it doesn't happen, what's your recourse?
Hold on. Let's do the numbers, sir.
Right.
Let's do the numbers. There's only 12 cabinet ministers.
Mm-hmm.
They still have to come to the caucus. You understand that, right?
Of course.
Okay. Let's move on.
But I just wanted to know.
No, I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. This whole fallacy about, this change of leadership's going to change. It's a fallacy.
But obviously something was going to change because the delegates had a reason to vote between Burt and Dickinson. So I guess you knowing the inside of your party could tell us why they felt the premier was better suited to stay.
That's not the topic. That's not the topic today.
Well, I'm just saying.
That's
what
not
you
the
were
topic
saying,
today.
you was acting like the leadership doesn't matter.
No, I'm trying to say to you, this whole fallacy about people writing stuff saying, change of leadership is going to change it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. Let's talk about what you wrote today, bro.
Can I just jump in here a quick second?
Yeah.
I just want to switch it up a bit because I really believe in constructive dialogue. So the Progressive Labour Party currently has 30 to 6 seats in the House. You can write any law that you want to write.
Mm-hmm.
You can do anything it is legislatively that you want to do. So what I want to know is why is it that the Progressive Labour Party can't get anything right? And what I mean by that, let me ask you this. So you wrote an act for the Southampton Princess, basically that gave guarantees to investors of probably $100 million, but you can't get any investors. That's not been closed yet. We got public education's a mess.
Hold on. So
Hold on. We got healthcare costs
Let's
is
stop
going
there
up.
because I wrote that. I wrote this down. Are you blaming teachers for the condition of public education?
I'm sure that you know that
I'm
the minister is
no.
ultimately responsible for the Ministry of
Hold on.
Education.
Stop right there.
And that's
Stop
why
right
this
there.
is politics.
Stop right there because the minister, as you know, can't go into schools. Are you blaming teachers for what you call failing public education system?
Is the government of the day providing the teachers with the resources necessary for them to do their job? And if the answer to that question is no, and I swear that most teachers will tell me that, then it's up to the government. Who's responsible for the government?
I'm
in
asking
this
you a
particular
question.
instance
I'm
is
asking
the Minister
listen,
of Education.
Let's not try to pull the donkey here. I'm asking you categorically, are you blaming the teachers, the education department, for, as you wrote, failing public education system?
I just said, and I'm going to say it again. And if you
one minister has more power than all these people.
If you listen to what I'm going to say rather than butt in, then you might have an opportunity to learn something. The Minister of Education is responsible for education in the schools. The Minister of Education sets a budget. If the teachers do not have the resources to be able to do their job efficiently and effectively, then no, I am not blaming the teachers. That's why I blame it on the Progressive Labour Party government.
Okay, so let's stop there a minute. Do you recall prior to 2017 the teachers going on strike?
I do remember the teachers going on strike. Yes.
Okay, hold that thought. Do you recall prior to 2017 Delwood having to close because of mold and no water?
Mm-hmm. And Warwick Sack and a couple other schools. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So tell me, if your premise is that it's blamed to the minister, that falls on who? That fell on who?
Whoever the minister is at
who
that
was
time.
the minister at that time?
I don't remember who it was.
Let me help you out.
It was an OBA minister.
Let me help you out.
You're not gonna like.
Let me
tell me that.
Hold on.
Okay, yeah.
Let me tell you something. Under the OBA, there was Senator Norton Brinkman.
Mm-hmm.
Then he quit or was fired. One of the two. Mm-hmm. Then there was Dr. Brian Gibbons, and he quit to go deal for America's Cup. Mm-hmm. Then there was Wayne Scott, and he quit to go on the Bermuda Gaming Authority. Mm-hmm. Then there, in the last iteration was your now present leader, Cole Simons. Mm-hmm. So the abysmal rate, the budgets were cut for education on the OBA, correct?
Possibly, yes.
No, not possibly. They were cut on the OBA.
Okay.
So who is to blame? If your theory, who's to blame?
It would be the Minister of Education, the same way how I'm blaming the Minister of Education now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like
okay.
I'm not gonna.
So you had
deny
four.
that.
You all had 4 education ministers. Cut budgets. Didn't fix schools. No Wi-Fi in school. Teachers on strike. So what? Tell me what emphasis did the OBA put on education?
Not enough.
Okay, so let's move on.
Okay, but
let's
are you-
move on.
are-
We only got 10 minutes.
Okay,
we only got 10 minutes,
I'm not
bro.
finished yet. So
No, you're
so,
trying to belabor the
no,
point.
what
We
I'm
only
asking
got
you
10
is
minutes.
why can't the Progressive Labour Party get anything right? That's what I'm asking you.
No, because you are.
FinTech was supposed to be a third pillar of the economy. As a matter of fact, we only have one pillar of the economy now because tourism is abysmal. I mean, in 2021, tourism numbers was 8% of what it was in 2019. In 2022, last year, we was only at about 50%. Other Caribbean countries are having record tourism numbers. Why cannot the PLP get anything right? That's my question to you.
Okay, so
that's what the public wants
let's
to
stop
know.
right there. In 2000 and whatever year, the OBA brought this company here called Acorn. You remember them? No. Don't take that mic.
Acorn.
Don't take that mic. Do not touch that
Acorn is
mic.
the airport-
I'm asking you.
Yeah, I know Acorn is the airport. people.
Acorn.
Yeah.
They came in with the promise that we are going to build this airport. It's not going to cost the taxpayer anything, right? And we will improve air service and numbers to Bermuda. Because why? They had a minimum revenue in the secret contract that they didn't want anybody to see. There was a guaranteed revenue profit for them.
Yeah.
So the more people
built
that
it.
came
They
in,
built it.
the more the money that they was going to make. So I asked you, right? When we came in, Skyport contract was already signed.
Yeah.
So answer me, what numbers came up on the Skyport?
What numbers have came
What?
up?
I'm asking you, what tourism numbers have came up on the Skyport?
Well, I think that in 2017, 2018, the numbers were going up for sure, without a question of doubt. Yeah.
So what happened then?
What happened when?
Skyport's still there. They got a 35-year contract. What numbers went up on the Skyport? Let me tell you what numbers went up. The cost to the taxpayer went up. We've been paid out over $60 million to Skyport based off of this faulty contract that the OBA signed.
In 2017, when the PLP government came into power, can you tell me why didn't they get insurance for pandemic?
Hold
for
on. The
pandemic?
contract was already signed.
But why didn't you get insurance? Pandemic insurance.
Hold on.
You know why you didn't get it? Because no one knew a pandemic was coming.
Hold on, mate. Hold on. The contract with you're a businessman, right? Correct?
The contract.
Just answer the question. You're a businessman, correct?
I'm a businessman.
If you sign a lease in 2010, can you go back and the lease is for 5 years? Can you go back and renegotiate the lease afterwards?
Right now, you're trying to.
No, I'm
compare
asking a
apples
simple
and
question.
oranges.
No. I'm asking you a simple question.
That has nothing to do
It
with
does.
the
We're
equation.
talking about the premise of business. The OBA in April 2017 signed a contract that they didn't want anyone to see that guaranteed the Skyport was going to get these revenues. No clause for anything. The PLP came in July. The contract was already signed.
What I'm asking you is, why didn't the PLP get pandemic insurance in 2017? I know the answer. The answer is that nobody knew a pandemic was coming in 2017.
Bro.
Well, I just
leave the mic, bro.
I have to.
Why are you taking the mic?
Because I just had to correct a few things. Only because as a co-host, we gotta keep the integrity of the show, and I do believe that there's a few things that need to be brought up. Akon was also involved in that hospital deal. This was not the first deal that was made with this country of Akon.
We're not talking about hospital.
But
Pass
I'm
the
saying
mic back,
you're conflating things.
How am I conflating?
Because you're talking about how you want to excuse the PLP's abysmal record
we
for
talk about
2008's
tourism.
tourism crash, but you don't want to excuse the tourism numbers for a worldwide pandemic. So you can't have it both ways. You see what I'm saying?
What contract was signed? Give him back the mic. What contract was signed for that airport by the PLP? What contract was signed by the PLP for that airport?
There was no contract
All right.
signed by the PLP for the airport. There was a contract signed by the PLP for the hospital there.
We ain't talking about the hospital. We're talking about the airport. Because you brought up
and
about...
you know what?
No. You
have
brought
seen
up
the
about tourism numbers, correct?
You have seen the contract for the airport. No one has seen the airport for the hospital.
Hold on. You brought up about tourism numbers, right? In that contract, it says Skyport is responsible for helping to bring up the numbers.
Okay.
Have they done that?
The people of this country want to know
no?
one thing. Why can't the PLP get anything right? That's what the people of the country want to know.
Brought up
why
the numbers?
cannot
Answer the question.
The Progressive Labour Party get anything right? With a
What
majority.
you mean can't get anything right?
Okay, please tell us what the PLP is getting right.
You think we got voted back in 2020 because we was getting things wrong?
You got voted in 2020.
Why you lost? Why you couldn't even been in a OBA strong hill?
Okay,
Tell me.
That's a very good question. I'm glad you asked. In 2020.
Why you couldn't be on the C9? Tell us that.
Hold on, you gotta let him answer.
Yeah, are you gonna let me answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. So in 2020, during that election, well, I mean, it was two obvious things that were against the One Bermuda Alliance at the time. We didn't field 36 candidates. So the majority of OBA supporters decided that they're not even going to come out and vote. And I guess, in a way, who blames them? The other thing is that at that time, David Burt was doing a great job communicating to everyone.
Say that again?
David Burt was doing a great job. I'm not gonna lie. He was doing a great job communicating with everyone about the pandemic. But that's before he had to make some real decisions. Decisions were being made for him in that early stages. As soon as he had to start, the Progressive Labour Party had to start making decisions. We had the worst record for positive cases. We were one of the worst countries per capita in the world dealing with the pandemic. That's a fact.
How could we be the... Hold on.
Tell me I'm lying.
How could we be the worst...
Hold on. Point to order me.
No. I ain't got a point to order. You ain't elected, right? So let's start here. How could we be the worst if we had the third highest vaccination rate? Tell me.
Clearly.
Tell me out.
You're trying to compare apples.
No, you made a statement.
You can have a high vaccination rate and still have the highest positive cases, one of the highest positive cases in the world. I mean, you're trying to compare apples with oranges.
No, we're talking about medical science here, bro.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that PLP ain't one.
Let me help you. Let me help you.
Let me help you. One of the worst places in the world dealing with the pandemic. Tell me I'm wrong. Just say, "Bo, you're wrong."
Let me help you out. It's a thing called statistics, right? Bermuda had one of the highest testing rates. If other countries only were testing 10% of their population, if we were testing 50%, of course we're gonna have more people show up positive because they're being tested. You do realize that, right?
That's your reason?
No, I'm asking you, do you realize that?
That's your reason?
I'm asking you that. Do you realize that?
Yes, you would do better than a country that wasn't testing at all.
Okay, thank you. Moving on. That's why you keep taking the mic, bro.
You're being disingenuous. I'm gonna maintain the integrity here.
I don't listen, right? when my people's on there, I don't interrupt your thing,
not present, you know what I'm saying? And I don't sit here and start crafting narratives. You're crafting a narrative that is suiting your political party.
What narrative?
Because you're talking about things about a mandate and stuff like that. The first point that I want to point out is that you called a snap election in the midst of a pandemic with a 60% turnout. That is not a mandate that you should be proud of.
Bro,
all
our people came out.
We lead in deaths in the Caribbean.
Hold on. All our people came out.
But understand, if you got the majority of 60%, that is not a mandate to be proud of.
Hold on.
It's not.
Did you do numbers for 2020 election? All our numbers remain the same, if not more. That means our people came out.
Yeah, but
and some of your people voted for us.
Right, but who's your people? Are you talking about? Because see, me, when I talk about my people, I talk about Bermudians as a whole. You're talking about your PLP voter base as your people, and that's part of the problem. It's a snap election during the pandemic. That is another thing, and I also want to point out that you cannot use the minimum guarantee as a token point. Now, you guys did it in the past.
So why are we paying the $60 million? Why are we paying the $60 million?
Raise tourism numbers in the midst of a global pandemic.
Hold on.
Especially when travel was restricted and things were locked down.
Hold on.
If you want to talk about, you talked about the 2008 recession back in the past. That's why PLP did this and that. How can you gloss over a global pandemic.
You do. So you're admitting that Acorn's responsible for raising numbers, right?
I'm admitting that nobody
no,
can raise numbers.
You're admitting that Acorn / Skyport in a contract said that they are going to raise numbers, right?
So your Minister of Transport is doing what?
I'm asking you a question.
What was Lawrence?
I'm asking you a question.
He's not responsible.
You're
for
not
that?
the guesser today, bro.
Yeah, but I can't sit there and let you craft
No,
a
because
narrative, right?
what narrative?
Because
we paid out $60 million.
When PLP comes on here, I don't start
We've
pumping
paid
out.
out $60 million because of what the OBA signed.
But every airport, whether you did an airport deal, would have paid out that money because nobody was traveling, correct? So if nobody's traveling, every airport around the world had to pay. Every
what?
country
we
had
didn't
to
have,
pay.
We didn't have no loan for the airport, so who would have paid?
You had to pay to subsidize airports. Every country was doing it. Every country was doing it.
Our airport was paid for. We don't have to pay nobody.
If rather airport
we wouldn't
was
have to
paid
pay
for
nobody.
Or not, right? Every single
Are
country
you not
was bailing out their
understanding this, sir?
airports because of low travel rates. That's what I'm saying.
We have no loan. We had no loan for that airport down there, so we wouldn't have to pay nobody.
You would have still had to pay to subsidize the lack of travel. That's what you're not getting.
All you did is try to jump here for
Can I jump in
50,
again? Because I want to make
We
sure
got
that
like
we have
1 minute
some
here.
constructive dialogue here. So this is another question that we want to ask. Next week, Mr. Famous, would you commit to telling the people of Bermuda how many trips you have taken between 2017 to today and how much money it costs per diems, transport, hotel, etc., and then tell us how much the benefit was to the people of Bermuda? Would you commit to doing that?
So you asking about my personal business?
No, your travel for the government.
Travel for 2017?
From 2017 to 2022. Can you tell us?
Matter of fact,
can you tell us what?
I could do one better. I could show you my credit card receipts.
Okay.
Then you get
what I want you to do is I want you to come tell the people of Bermuda how many
I ain't got to
trips you
tell
took.
you nothing. I can show you my
I said
credit
the people
card.
of Bermuda, not me.
Hold
You're
on,
right.
bro,
You don't tell me anything.
Bro, let me explain something to you. I could show you my credit card receipts.
Whatever you want to do.
But let's talk about your article. Let's talk about your article here. I ain't committing to nothing to you.
Okay. You're not committing to me. You're committing to the people of Bermuda.
I ain't got to commit nothing to you.
It's okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
I'm transparent about what I do.
Okay. So,
that's the difference between me and the OBA. I'm transparent.
Okay. If you say so. What's your question about the article?
That's good. Anyway, we got to go. It's now 6. Dwayne's used up your time.
We can have a part two. We can have a part two.
Talk about anything you want to talk about.
You plan on running next election?
If the One Bermuda Alliance would have me as a candidate, so far at this point, I am a approved candidate for Constituency 9.
When last you canvassed Constituency 9?
Yesterday.
Where?
I talked to Trevor Munnish yesterday.
You talked to Trevor Munnish?
Yeah, I talked to Trevor Munnish yesterday. He's in Constituency 9, isn't he?
Well, okay, let me help you out. Constituency 9 includes Hermitage Red.
Mm-hmm. I've been there. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I met you up there, didn't I? Didn't you
on
see
my
me
street.
up there?
And what did I tell you that day?
I can't remember.
I tell you, don't even worry, you can get in the seat. And what happened?
You were right.
Okay. On that note, I was right. And I'm telling you right now, you'll never win Constituency 9.
Okay. So are you going to tell the people of Bermuda why the PLP can't get anything right?
No, that's your premise. Right?
It's a fact.
Hold on.
It's not my premise. It's
hold
a
on.
fact.
Let me help
Unless
you
you want to tell me what you're getting right. Tell me what the PLP is getting right.
Hold on. Let me help you out there.
Tell me.
Let me help you out there. All right? Do you see people? Let's go back to on the OBA. Teachers been on strike, correct?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I'm not.
Why is the OBA
important? It's 2023.
Bro.
People are hurting financially. People are hurting economically. People are hurting socially. People are getting killed and shot.
You're asking a question.
And you're talking about the OBA. Who cares about the OBA?
Tell me something. Let me ask you this question. My cousin just saw me at BRU gas station, right? She showed me where she didn't show me, but she showed me she got bitten by a pit bull. Tell me what's your stance when it comes to pit bulls.
I think that there are some dangerous pit bulls that should be put to sleep.
Yeah. What about illegal breeding?
I think that illegal breeding, just like drug dealing, just like all that type of stuff. Like all of it's supposed to, go by the wayside.
Why?
Sorry.
Stop
No,
cutting me in, bro.
You got to keep it to 2023.
No,
Talk
no,
about
no.
this article. You got
No,
a few
no,
more minutes
hold
left.
on, hold on.
And remember, teachers marched on Parliament under the PLP as well.
Hold on.
But keep it to the article.
Hold on.
About 10 minutes.
I like the way you've jumped in for Vic half the timer.
Dude, that's not
Yes,
the
here's the fact.
No, Vic's was speaking for itself.
No, no.
I'm also a co-host, so I gotta make sure we're having
Bro,
the integrity
I've never
of the
done
show.
that to you. I've never done that to you.
I have never spoken to a PLP guest. I have never spoken to a PLP guest like this. Remember that.
Hold on. When people write lies, right?
So talk about the article then.
So
let's
show me where's the lie.
let's go
That's
there.
show me where's the lie.
I asked you if you were blaming teachers. You said no.
No, I didn't.
All right, so
blame
let's
any-
go to this part here. November 18th in the House of Assembly.
Were you there or were you asleep? Sorry.
This message to the opposition. I'm going to give you this advice for free. If you make a recommendation to us, we are going to do the exact opposite. Therefore, it doesn't matter what advice, recommendations, or solutions are presented. That's your words, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the context of what the Colonel said that day?
What was the context? As I understand it, he was talking about the Progressive Labour Party, and he basically said that opposition, I'm going to give you some advice for free. And he said that if you ask us to do anything, we're going to do the complete opposite.
Let me tell you what the context was. The context was you, the RG, and others telling us who's going to be our political leader. So no, you're not going
Nobody
to tell
was
us.
telling you who's gonna be your
Hold
political
on.
leader
I'm
was
telling
gonna
you the
be.
context.
But nobody was
But
telling you.
so why
who
you
your-
left the context out there?
Nobody was telling you who your
Why
political
you
leader-
left the
I don't
context
remember
out?
anybody saying that. People might have had a
why
preference, but nobody
hold on.
said.
Why did you leave the context out?
What do you mean? Why did I leave the context out?
You know why you left the
The
context out.
solution was at the time that would you guys put Curtis
Okay.
Dickinson as the leader
All
of the
right,
place?
let's go to something else, which is borderline libelous, sir. Borderline libelous.
Where is it? I'll apologize if it is, but where is it?
There's a premise you was talking about.
Where is it? Just tell me where it is.
Here, right there, page 2. While supposedly promised to protect the environment, there's the outright poisoning of our water supplies by Belco plant. You realize what you wrote there, right? The outright poisoning of water supplies by Belco plant.
So can I ask you?
No, hold on. Where numerous PLP MPs' fingerprints are there for all to see.
So-
What does that mean? Tell me.
What does that mean? So, just a couple of days ago, I received a Twitter from an interview with I can't remember his name, got the bushy here. Gary Foster Skelton. And he was going up on the roofs of houses surrounding the Belco plant. Have you seen it?
I'm seeing it, but go
Okay,
ahead,
yeah.
go ahead.
So what did you notice on the roof?
I'm talking about what's her.
What did you notice? A lot
I
of
saw
brown
what-
stuff on the roof?
Go ahead. You said
And-
outright poisoning. That's your words.
Yeah.
You said
So-
outright poison.
So that stuff's good?
You said outright poison.
Is it good for you?
Yo, bro. You
Is
said
it-
outright poison.
Is it good for you?
You said, oh, this is what you wrote.
Let's go up there, scrape some off, put it on, and you drink it. That's cool?
This is what you wrote.
Go ahead. All are you?
Outright poisoning by the Belco plant
Okay.
where numerous PLP MPs' fingerprints are there for all to see. What does that mean?
What do you think it means?
No, tell me.
It means that the CEO of the PLP is there, the person that's in charge of that constituency is PLP.
He doesn't work at Belco.
Who doesn't work at Belco?
The person that constituency doesn't work at Belco.
No, but PLP MPs. It's not talking about one MP.
So you're just trying to say the
I'm saying
PLP
that
MP
there
is responsible for the poison.
Is the CEO of Belco a PLP MP?
Hold on, let's
Yes
go
or no?
here. Out.
Yes,
the answer is
Okay.
yes.
Yes, okay.
But you said there's the outright poisoning of all water supplies by Belco plant.
So,
You realize that's libelous,
and
right?
this is where you get to be honest with the people of Bermuda. at
You
this
realize
point.
this is libelous,
So here's
right?
my question for you at this point. Are you telling me and telling the people that live surrounding the Belco plant, at this point, you're telling me that what that brown stuff that they see on the roof that's running into the tank is good for them? Please tell them yes.
No. I see what
I
you
thought
wrote
not.
her. I asked you, do you realize this is
It
libelous?
can't be libelous if it's true.
How's it true? You said
So-
outright poison, like Belco is just poisoning people.
Is it good
no,
for you?
No,
Is it good?
I'm asking you. I'm asking
asking
when
you.
someone says outright poison, that indicates that Belka is getting around putting poison in people's water supply.
That doesn't indicate that at all.
What does that mean?
It
What
means
does that
the
write?
stuff that is on
Well, let me help
the
you out.
bronze stuff that is on people's roofs.
Let me help you out.
Can't
Let me help
be
you
good
out.
for them. Because
Let
if
me
it
help.
was, you guys wouldn't be cleaning as much as you're cleaning them.
Let me help you out. Let me help you out. What you wrote here is libelous. Okay. You understand that, right?
I don't understand that, but
Of course you don't understand it. And then you go on to say where numerous PLP MPs are fingerprints for. So what you were trying to say, like PLP MPs are responsible for this?
I'm trying to say that if
Do you understand how electricity is made, man?
let me ask you a question.
Do you understand how electricity is made?
Can you?
No, I'm just asking you a question.
Can I talk to you?
Go ahead.
So if Michael Dunkley was the CEO of Belco, and Scott Perman was the MP in that particular area, what would you say?
What
would you say? Just
Hold
tell
on,
me
hold
what
on.
you would say.
You were trying to conflate.
Just tell me
hold
what
on.
you would say.
Hold on. You were
Right
trying
now
to,
you're keeping quiet.
Let me finish.
Probably because you're an employee of Belco.
What? No. Let me finish.
Are
Let
you
me
an
help you.
employee of
Let me
Belco?
help you with science.
You're not. You're
Let
MP.
me help you with science, mate. How electricity is made has nothing to do with who's the MP. Zero. If the OBA was the MP there, it would be the same way electricity is made. The exact same
Would you
way.
be happy having that bronze stuff on your roof and drinking it every day?
Bro, you
Yes
said
or no?
Belco
The
is
people
outright
of
poisoning
that constituency and the people of Bermuda want to know your answer. Are you happy with the bronze stuff that's on people's roofs? Yes or no?
Is Belco
Yes
is Belco
or no?
hold on? Is Belco addressing these concerns? Yes or no?
Not from what I saw.
Okay, all right. So let's go back to this last point here, right? You blaming teachers. So
You.
no, but
said I
now
was
there's
blaming
supposed to be a balanced budget. Dwayne, why do you keep taking the mic,
Because
man?
you're still putting words in the gas mode.
Why do you keep taking the mic?
You have to understand that this is an interview, right?
So
if it's an
this is an
interview,
interview of me and him.
You're either gonna allow the guest to speak and
Am I-
answer you.
am I talking?
You ask
Am I
2
talking?
or 3 questions and he can't answer one.
Am I talking?
And you are misquoting his article.
I'm reading right here.
And it's not libelous if it's got a review and an interview with a credible news source
Don't say
backing
that.
it.
Don't say that in her.
Well, you people can read, and it's in public domain, Chris. So you got to maintain the integrity.
You
Let him speak.
You
right?
realize
Let him
what
answer.
you realize what saying Belka is outright poisoning people. You realize the liability in that?
It's a public domain interview, right? That is saying that people are not able to drink their water, Chris. Is for everyone to see. I need you to allow the guest to speak and not to twist his words.
What
Do
twist his
not,
words? I read his
because you
words
just-
3
You
times.
just said he's blaming teachers, and that's not what he wrote.
So I'm asking again.
And this
right?
is not me speaking
I'm
for Vic. I'm speaking for the show as a co-host.
No, I'm asking again. When you say there's a failing education, public education is failing, who are you talking about? Because you can't be just talking about one person.
Didn't I
You're talking about the ministry.
just
So the
say
minister is responsible for everything that's happening in public ed. So when we have people from public school coming out and getting scholarships, the minister's to blame for that too?
Well, didn't you just say that? Didn't you just go down the list of OBA ministers that
No, I
that quit and
asked
the guests
him
about that, and
I
all
asked- hold on.
ministers are not responsible
So
when
I
it's
asked
PLP.
I asked him if he's using that yardstick. Then there's 4 OBA ministers responsible according to his yardstick.
No, but the guest answered you, right?
Bro.
And you're still
No, because
know?
because let me tell you why. Because whether you realize or not, you're insulting thousands of teachers.
no. That's go ahead.
Yeah, if and I'm gonna take MP Famous's words as he just said. If any of my words were an insult to any teacher, even one teacher, I humbly apologize. Public failing education, as I've said numerous times, PLP got your fingerprints all over it.
So the public failing education is all the PLP is for. I'm just asking a question. That
Is
in your,
the- is
I'm asking. Is a yes or no question?
Is your government currently providing teachers with all the resources that they need? Yes or no? Chris, can you answer that question? You have not answered one question. The people of Bermuda just want to just say yes or no.
Let me tell you where I came from before I came here. I came from BPSU to talk to union members. Asking them about this. I asked them, what is their take on this statement? See, because I believe in the union. Right? I asked them, what is their take? And their take is that you're blaming the teachers. So
Again,
let me help you out.
If there's even one teacher that thought that I was blaming you, then I humbly apologize. And hopefully I have clarified that for all people, all of the people in this country.
Let me help you out going forward, right? When you make blanket statements about workers, right, the civil service, there's only one way to trim the cost in Bermuda. That's by trimming the workers. So I don't know what you was going to say. First of all, you just said earlier, you don't advocate for, what you said? You don't advocate for trimming all the civil service, right?
Yes.
Okay. What else?
Sorry. And that's another thing here. I just also want to clarify that because this show is meant to, engage, inform, there is not only one way. The other way is to stimulate the economy. The other way is to create more revenue, something that the current government, this is being impartial, has been unable to do. So it's not just cutting the civil service, right? And nobody's advocating for that. But if you are unable to control spending as a government, if you are unable to generate revenue as a government, then these are the problems we're in.
Okay, so let's stop there. Let's stop there because we have some people outside waiting. When the OBA was in the party that he joined, the party that you joined, did they not want to cut the civil service?
To the best of my knowledge, I think that we did not cut the civil
No, I
service.
said, did they want to cut the civil service?
I mean, I'm not sure the answer to that question.
The answer is yes.
I can tell you what happened.
Bob Richards came down to per 6, said he wanted to cut the civil service.
I can tell you what happened. I can tell you what happened. I can't tell you what people thought should happen. I mean, people think all sorts of things, but I can tell you what happened. No civil service jobs were cut, and there was a furlough.
Because the union stood together. You can't break the union.
The OBA ran on gradual attrition, which means that people retire out. It was never a case that we ran on any sort of civil service cutting jobs.
Let me help you out.
All.
Let me help
We
you
never
out.
did
Let
that.
me help you out. Per 6, Bob Richards came down there talking about a glide path towards cutting the civil service numbers.
Through gradual attrition.
Hold on.
Letting people retire out and then making the jobs defunct.
Offered early retirement.
Dwayne,
That's right.
Dwayne, do you remember January 2015? Why did all the civil servants go on strike?
It's very interesting that you mentioned these strikes and marches because they particularly benefited one party.
No, I'm asking
And
why
these
did they go on strike?
After these strikes were done for numerous occasions, the very thing that people negotiated for seemed to still happen. But yet somebody won power. So when people went to strike over the airport deal still went through. The Premier Burt has yet to release his independent review of that airport because all of these strikes and stuff are manifested for political gain.
So
by a particular party.
So the PLP could just tell 5,000 people to go on strike?
It's an organization, and if you tell people a false narrative, which again
it's a false narrative.
I want you to find a quote where an OBA person was speaking in a capacity of OBA that we said we were going to cut civil service.
Okay, let me help you out. 2015, Bob Richards says, I am going to take 10% of your pay. No questions asked. That's why they went on strike.
So you think that 4 years, when the PLP was in power for almost 25 years now, you think that 4-year window where somebody was saying we need to cut 10% because we don't want to cut your jobs is cutting the civil service?
Hold on. 2015, January, the entire civil service went on strike for 3 days. Why? Because the OBA, without consultation, without negotiation, said, we are going to cut your pay by 10%.
When you come in after 17 years of financial mismanagement,
bro, that's
and
what
you have
you
to
just
make
asked
tough
the question.
decisions,
I gave
right?
you the answer.
No, but I'm giving you the answer. People are going to step out and strike for their best interest, and that is their right. That is their liberty to protect their income. But at the end of the day, the PLP has a spending issue, right?
What are we spending the money on? We are spending the money on the civil service.
The problem is that you
So
don't have.
who-
You are
so what are you saying?
10,000 workers in a. You are 10,000 workers in deficit, right? You are trying to maintain the same civil service on a population that's in deficit.
Asking you,
how does that work?
So I'm asking you categorically if the PLP is spending the money on our civil service, the people that serve you, the teachers, the doctors, the firemen, who should we cut?
you don't have to cut their jobs. The point is that your own Minister of Economy and Labor has said that the government, the Bermuda's current population trends are unsustainable. You know what unsustainable means? It means that if we don't do something about it, the island will collapse. So if there is no one to fund the civil service and you have failed to stimulate the economy and you have failed to curb your spending, what's going to happen? A huge cut. And it's not going to matter who government is in power.
Dwayne,
You can't
I'm
even keep
asking-
the roads paved or pick up trash all the time. That's where we're at.
Dwayne,
Just saying.
hold on. Stop right there. I'm asking you, right? How are we going to cut the cost if we don't cut workers? Tell me.
The same way that you mentioned Bob Richards, you might have to cut a wage for a bit, and you can talk to civil
say that
service.
again slowly. Say that again very slowly.
I don't understand why it's such a horrible thing to say when private sector jobs are being
So
lost.
you're
And
advocating.
other people-
So you advocating that civil servants' wage get cut?
I'm not advocating for that.
What
I'm
did you
saying-
just say?
No, but I'm saying if you have discussions with civil service and you say, look, the island is unsustainable, as your minister has said, right? We need to pull together as Bermudians because the private sector that is sustaining your wage is crippling. What can you say, Chris? Let Vic Boy have the last
If
word.
I can, like I said, I really came here because I want to, make sure that we have a constructive discourse. And I just want to read the last sentence of my op-ed in today's newspaper. And it says that if we were better led and better prepared in the first place, the effects that we're currently having on Bermuda would not be so destructive and devastating. And with that,
Okay,
I
so-
would like to say good night.
So let's put it this way, right? One of you is advocating that civil service should think about getting a pay cut.
Incorrect.
What did you just say?
The response was in conjunction with what you mentioned about Bob Richards. The whole premise that the OBA stands for is to grow the economy. We never advocate for cutting civil service.
You do. Let me end on this. You do realize that more international businesses have came in there. Remember Miss Sassa called in last week, and what did she say, Dwayne? We're running short of houses because influx of business.
She
Under
also-
what? The PLP.
She also
Good
said
night.
that families have spread out and that is one of the main reasons that multiple things
Dwayne
work. That's
and
what they
Vic,
said.
We had an independent person come in here last week and say there have been more businesses coming here under the PLP.
And international
Correct?
business says that they have a low business confidence in this current government.
So how could it be low confidence
what
if
is-
they've come into the
But
island?
if the
Dwayne?
insurance
Dwayne,
industry is saying
Dwayne,
that, so
Dwayne,
how can we do that?
Dwayne,
We're conflating
Dwayne.
two things.
the lady came in there last week and said that the housing stock is low because there's
Right.
a large influx.
But what
of
is business
international
saying, Chris? What's business saying? That they
If-
have a low
if they-
confidence.
If they've come into the island, what they're saying?
They're saying
If
PLP
they've
should
hold
halt
on.
their tax plans because they have low confidence.
Dwayne, if they've come into the island, what
Right.
does that say?
What are they saying, Chris?
What if they've
we
come
we
into?
have
hold on.
direct quotes from Aber
No,
and members
I
of
asked
the
you a
insurance
simple
community
question. I asked you a simple
about business
question.
confidence.
If they've come into the island, what is that saying?
So you want me to take the word of one person over the industry
It's not
itself?
the word of one person.
The
We have no-
industry itself has said
Dwayne,
we have low confidence. The PLP should
Dwayne,
pause their
Dwayne,
tax plans.
You're talking about tax plan. I'm talking about the fact.
I'm
Hold
talking
on.
about business confidence.
Hold on. I'm talking about the fact that businesses have come in here. If they didn't come in there if they weren't confident in the island, right?
If you come here,
Nobody relocates to a country if they ain't confident in that island, right?
I'm just telling you what they said. So I guess you're refuting them. You can go ahead and refute
No,
them.
you're,
That's what-
you're talking about tax. You're talking about tax plans.
No, I'm
So-
talking about business confidence. Tax
hold
plan
on,
was
hold on.
one of the things.
Hold on. How are they hurt if they weren't confident in the country? Tell me. Just answer that question.
Well,
Okay, you can.
yeah, no, I can.
No, you
But
can't.
I'm
Why
just
are they
saying,
here if they weren't confident?
I'm gonna let the people speak for themselves. They put that out there
All
in
right,
the
well,
paper.
tell you what.
So you can confirm or deny it with them.
Why
But
are
at
they
the
here
end
if
of the
they
day,
weren't confident?
What you mean?
Why did they move here over the last year if they weren't
I'm
confident?
gonna have to be confident to take a job, Chris.
We're talking about businesses.
Yeah,
We're
but
talking
I'm
about
saying
people.
if I know I can make a profit, but it doesn't mean I
Okay.
can't make an even bigger profit in somewhere like Cayman.
Do you realize what's going on in the Cayman Islands?
Hmm?
Do you realize what's going on in the Cayman Islands?
I'm not saying that it's bad or worse, but I'm saying
Okay,
we have
all right.
competition, Chris. And if I take a job somewhere, that doesn't mean I'm confident in the business. That just means I can get
Anyway,
paid.
Mr. Bowe, thank you for coming. Are you coming back?
Oh, most definitely, please.
Most definitely?
I'm surprised that you want me back.
No, because we're going to finish this conversation.
Oh, wonderful.
We're
I
gonna,
can't
I shouldn't
wait.
say finish. We're going to continue this
That sounds
conversation.
good. I'll wait till my
Bermuda?
next opinion piece.
Thank you for
Have a good night, everyone.
And you have been listening to Motion to Adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson.
You're locked to Power 95, Bermuda's big station at 94.9 FM, a Bermuda Broadcasting Company station.
Do you want me to slow it down? Do you want me to speed it up? Do you want me to slow it down? Do you want me to speed it up? You ain't never heard a slow jam like this. You ain't never had a remix like this. You ain't never been freaky like this. Rolling on 24s like this. Never had a pool party like this.